Yeah.
Am I saying too much?
Maybe, yeah.
Good
Okay.
morning, house
We
guests.
did it!
Rise and shine.
Battery change. It's time to do a battery change.
Okay, here it is. I want
Wait, we gotta be careful.
see the clink. I want to see
We
the
gotta
clink.
be careful here, though.
Okay. We're doing it. We're doing it. I've literally, how many times, if I can count how many times I've asked you to do a podcast with me, it would probably be like close to like 300 times.
Child.
Close.
The trauma was on for me, so I was not thinking about anything so creative. My life already, as we know, as a creative field. So I wasn't thinking about it. But this bitch was persistent.
I was. Okay, like first of all, I think that you're so funny. I think that you have great stories to tell. And a very fun perspective because like we kind of like have the same walk in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? We're both evicted.
We haven't even gone into the name yet, but welcome to the Bay Podcast.
Oh, we did it! That's it. That's the podcast.
And that was unpracticed.
Bitter and evicted.
Let's talk about it.
Oh,
Bitch! You see how we were already the mindset was the same, the shit that happened is the same.
Literally.
Okay, guys, we're a work in progress, okay? That can be acknowledged. You know, you don't start off being this perfect. You know, this was a work. If I showed you earlier pictures, definitely if you've seen some earlier pictures of the bestie, it's a work in progress. And so is this podcast, but like that's the whole point.
Absolutely. Like we're still teeter-tottering on the idea of like, is it going to be just recaps? Is it just going to be, you know, are we going to have guests on?
Yeah.
I would love to have guests.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the purpose of this. Like, you know, as super fans, because we are both, well, first of all, we should probably get into that. Like, how do we know each other?
Oh my goodness. How do we know each other? So, I was out in the woods and...
Bitch, you weren't going to catch me out in the woods.
Yeah. So there's this place called Hanlon's where...
You definitely weren't catching me there, but I did. I
went to the bushes.
This is what you guys will learn about us throughout this podcast. There is one of us who is a messy bitch, and then one of us who's more cool and collected. And we won't say who's who yet.
I think they'll figure it out. Yeah. It'll be like a little fun
But is that
game.
true? Is one of us calm, cool, and collected, and one is definitely a messy bitch?
Well, one of us is an Aries. And...
Okay, we're going to follow up on this on another podcast. So for now, we're going to say one is an Aries and one is a Capricorn, and we'll let y'all figure that out.
Yeah, that's going to be the comment. Comment down below what you guys believe. Who do you believe is the Aries between the both of us?
Oh my God.
Okay, so we've been wanting to do a podcast. It's taken us some time because like life has been a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really big on like names. So originally, if I were to do a podcast by myself, I wanted it to be just Bitter.
Mm-hmm.
So that the idea of like someone looking me up and being like, John Michael Bitter, it would just show up as a podcast. It wouldn't talk about me going home first on Big Brother or anything like that. So that was like the idea. And then, you know, as we gotten closer, I was like, oh my gosh, I really like would love that. Like we're like the dynamic duo that should have been but couldn't.
Like absolutely was taken from us so early, so quickly in the game, and just for so many different elements. So yeah, you mentioned it. Like we were on Big Brother Canada season 11 together, and one of us got out very soon.
We'll let you guys figure out who.
One of us was early boot. One of us went a little further.
Well, technically, one of us is the first boot and one of us is the last boot.
Exactly, which is another thing that's so crazy about this dynamic.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, and I think that's why we've gotten to this place where we're able to have these conversations in this podcast, right? Because we have experienced so many things so similarly, but like so differently at the same time.
Absolutely.
But our outcomes have always been so relatable to each other.
Right.
Like, and that's not just Big Brother, because yes, first boot, last boot, but it's and even in that in itself, right? Like, there's this whole spectrum of what happens down the middle, and everyone has different opinions and different feelings towards it. But it was so crazy because when me and you spoke, it was like we couldn't fully understand how the other person's perspective, but it aligned so much on the way that things were perceived and how we saw ourselves because of that placement. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like, I say that because that's so important to like our queer journeys as well,
Yeah.
and our upbringing. Like, we were both, you know,
In Christian household.
Christian household,
Right? And
POCs,
right. Yeah.
queer.
You know, one of the questions that I got when I first, as like someone who left the game so fast,
Yeah.
or too early, if you would, was what was the toughest part? And it kind of evolved.
Yeah.
Like, when I was first out, I was saying like the toughest part was like showing more game. I think
Mhm.
everybody, like literally everybody, always has more game, right?
Yeah.
But then it evolved when we were all in Niagara for Niagara weekend. And I realized actually the toughest part about this was going through it alone for that first bit, because it was, you guys gave me very limited.
I mean, to be fair, we didn't have a choice to give you much. We had a choice to give you one.
You gave me Rob. And Rob literally like walked out the door, stepped into a plane, and left me, and was in
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And then the other unmentionables. But like, you guys really gave me no one to like process this with, which, actually, before I say, like, I don't want to say that I was left alone. Like,
Yeah.
the alumni like came in and they were
Yeah.
like, we're adopting you. Like, there are some really, really, really good people. You can really tell that there were some of them who were, let's go out to brunch. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience. Just so you know, you're like part of this community who went through this process, right? So
Yeah.
so I wasn't alone, but you guys really gave me no one in the house to talk to up until that point. So, it was challenging. So it's like, it went from it was a hard time because I had so much more game.
Mhm.
Then it was a hard time because I realized I was going through it alone. And then I realized like it was a hard time because there was like people like you who I feel like I was robbed of like that experience with, like
Mhm.
just like getting to know each other, like how many of our like values and morals kind of align.
Mhm.
So it was just, those were the
And, like,
challenging things.
And I can see, like, in a situation like that too, being there watching it, you would have been able to put yourself in the situation and be like, oh my gosh, this is how we could have gotten out of this situation, or this is how
Right.
we would have worked differently. Like, definitely I could see how that.
Yeah, it was like I was, Rob said this. He said that it felt like I was just benched. Like,
Yeah.
the game was still going,
Oh, I
and I was
didn't
just like
think about that.
watching everything happening, and I couldn't do anything. But it was
Yeah.
awful because obviously, I was doing therapy. Shout out therapy. But I was doing therapy when it all happened, and like I was feeling everything
Yeah.
that you guys were feeling.
Yeah.
Like Library Gate, Waffle Gate, like you name it, I was there with you guys in spirit. Like
Yeah.
I was just really feeling it. I hate to say that as oh, it's so like cheesy. He was there, like no, truly, like
Yeah.
I was so invested. I was like, I wasn't working. I was
Yeah.
watching everything all at the same time. But I did experience something that a lot of you maybe didn't, is like a lot of fan interactions.
Yeah. So it's funny because, like, for me now, hearing that perspective, your perspective of it, similar in the sense where it's like, okay, yeah, you felt like there was still a lot of game that you had left. So for someone like me now who made it to the last day,
Right.
I was surprised by having that emotion because of the placement I got. Because you make it to the last day and it's like someone's gonna win,
Right.
someone's gonna get second place, and then somebody loses. But at that point, it's like being the person who lost, you're 10 minutes, and then it's just like you're watching somebody else get crowned, you're watching this happen, everybody's kind of like, we're wrapping this up, let's rush everybody out, like give the prize, let's put this person on the pedestal, everyone's here. Everybody else who's been evicted from the game, we've all had these emotions, we've all had to deal with it to some degree. I didn't have any time to take in, process anything. So for me, I'm at that point and I'm like, I'm not done this game. Like, I'm fighting. I want to fight for this game. I want to win this game. And it's just like, oh, the game's over. The game's over. And everyone's kind of like already accepted that the game was over,
Right.
or like finding this place, and I'm standing there on the stage like smiling at everyone like what the fuck is going on right now? And you know what I mean? And then there was like that part of it that was like I didn't interact with alumni, I didn't interact with fans, so like now I'm just really just focusing on, oh my god, what just happened, and feeling a little bit like a fish thrown into what's the term? Like I was just like in a big pond, like I was like completely like woo, woo, like everything's moving around you, and I'm like confusion.
Yeah, but then also that's like simulated by like we were also like in sequester.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you didn't really get to talk to anyone except for the 16 other house guests in there. Like, so it was just like additive to like what that feeling was. But you know, it's funny. I was in a Twitter space where someone asked, what is the worst position? Would it be first boot, first to jury, or third place? And I said third place. I said third. And I hope you feel.
Help.
But I said third place for exactly the reasons you said. I'm like, you don't get a week to like even just process.
At all.
It's just you're out and you're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I would even like almost trade third place for fourth at that point, because then you get to go to jury. And
I've been saying that, like, and it's crazy because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, we're so grateful for the experience. Like, I would have been grateful for any position. I remember preparing for the show.
If someone told you, if you were out the house first, would you still do it?
Yes,
absolutely.
And that's the thing. I just wanted to experience it, be a part of it so bad for so many years. Like, I am a super fan. I've been trying to do this for so many years. And I prepared myself for that mentally, losing. Like, I prepared myself, you know, you might not win. I mean, any of us who go on this show are delusional. Like, the truth is, we're all delusional. We're all unhinged. And 100%. Like, in order to play something like this, you need to believe you're going to be the one to win.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, every eviction is like, what just happened? Like, I'm out or whatever. And even for the people who are still in, you feel every single, like, eviction. Like, those, every day that we're in that house together, it's like, even the people you don't like, not that there was anybody that I don't like. Not that there's anybody I don't like, but like, even those people, you feel the weight of them going. Like, and that's what I'm saying. So even if you're out of the house, you still feel the weight of not being a part. Like, we're all so wrapped up in that experience going through it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when it came to the point where it was like, I was about to be final three, and now I'm getting all these emotions at once, I'm like, fucked. Yeah. I'm just like, shit.
You can swear
Not
now.
me editing by trying to say another swear word.
You can swear now. You can swear now.
I'm just like, okay, fuck. I'd rather have switched out with Renee or Anika, who had days in the jury. You know what I mean? Because then you get to lay it to rest. You get to understand like what just happened, and you get to enjoy it. You get to, well, I can't really say what happens in jury, but you get to enjoy it more.
Yeah, you get to decompress. Yeah. You get to like say, okay, you can let go. You can like, and you're there with people who experience it too. So like you are able to just like talk to people who understand. Yeah. Because that's like one of the tougher things about like what's gone on is that, you know, I love my friends pre-Big Brother, like anybody before this experience, have been so supportive. Yeah. Super supportive. But, like, I can tell that when I feel, you know, there are days, like, I'm good now. Yeah. Like, really, let's just rewind a little bit. When I first got out of the house, I still heard Big Brother, like, telling me to wake up, go to sleep. Yeah. I swore it, and it was like, John Michael, stop that.
Stop that. We need Dan to do the voice. Dan does it so good.
I know. And it was it was so weird. Like, even just, like, having to do your own groceries. Like doing, that like really set me off. Like doing like
what? I have to do. This fridge is not stacked.
I know, like doing normal things was so weird. Like it was like touching grass. Like literally, I was so out of touch.
So the people who work behind the scenes of Big Brother took a picture of me opening my phone for the first time. Like that was so foreign to me.
Oh, I didn't even like. I was only gone from society for like what? 3-4 weeks, and I I was like, how do I even turn this on?
I literally did not remember how to do certain things. Like I was trying to figure it out. I got my phone back. With the messages, like overwhelmed. And to be honest, like to this point, like
Yeah.
I'm still horrible with my phone. Horrible with it
100%.
since I've been back. Like you want to send me a text message? I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna respond. And it's not that I'm not trying to respond. It's just honestly, I was so used to just not being a friggin' servant to this phone that like now things go off and I'm like, when I get lost in my head, like that's one thing that was a surprise, like being in the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
Is like the downtime parts of it, I think became more in tune with like my own thoughts and thinking because all you do in there is think all the time.
Oh, all the time.
That like now in my
your heart is racing, your brain is going like,
and you're
what's
so
happening?
aware of how you feel always.
Always.
So now in the real world, I've noticed, and I feel like I haven't even told you this before. It's like weird because I'm unlocking this right now for myself. But like now in the real world, I feel like that is something that I've carried. Whereas like I'm so in tune like with how like even if it's like a bad feeling, like I'm in my misery or whatever, I get lost in my thought and I'm just not present fully
Yeah.
when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, I'm really like, even hanging out with like friends.
Yeah.
Like, my phone is gone. Like I'm not touching it. I'm not looking at it. And like there are like video games that I play on my phone where like I have to do certain things like at a certain time and I'm
Yeah.
good with that. But like even, I recognize like when I'm with people, I'm
Yeah.
not touching my phone. Like
interesting.
it's just like it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, Big Brother.
Cheers to the Big
Cheers.
Brother. No, it's funny that you say that because for me, it's like that and not that. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, it just be like, dang, we see you on your phone. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like, girl, I'm not on technology. I am constantly on it. I just mean I'm so wrapped in what I'm doing now or whatever I'm focusing on.
Yes.
And like that's what you had to do in that game too. Like you
Yeah.
needed to know what you were doing. You had to have your shit aligned. So like now
Yeah.
when I'm focusing on something, whatever is not in my focus,
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah.
I
good luck.
got to get back there.
Oh yeah. No, I did struggle with that a little bit. Like I think I have to get tested for like ADHD. Like I'm
See.
almost like I'm just like so
And that's another
like,
similarity. we
I'm just
have,
like
'cause-
so hyper focused. Like I need music blaring. I need like things going off right now. Like just I need to be stimulated.
Stimulated.
Is it?
Not overstimulated, girl.
Stimulation is like
Oh wait, am I wrong? Not being like, ooh, that's wrong. Well,
we clearly didn't go to school for English.
did
Hold on, give me
I
1 second.
did I ever tell you about how I?
I just had this thing like I'm like, oh my gosh.
Are we not recording?
No, I thought we weren't. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
because
Could you imagine?
look, you turned the record player on. Like we said, work in progress. There's gonna be a little ghetto moments here and there. But what was I? I had a point to make with that.
Okay, where were we?
Overstimulation.
Overstimulation.
Simulation.
It's
Stimulation.
stimulation.
Simulation is like
Simulation is like what?
it's a game, like something's operating, functioning. Stimulation is like, ooh, I'm stimulated.
Yeah, simulation is like The Sims.
Yes, that's how I thought about it too. No, but I had a good point to say. Why were we talking about stimulation?
Technology, how we like if it's not in focus, we don't care about it. Like you're just hyper focused on whatever's in front of you. Good luck to anyone else who isn't your focus.
Yeah, that's pretty much the point. I
Yeah.
lost what else I was about to say about that.
Yeah, when I first came out, like I got lost in thought a lot. Like there were often times where I was in mid conversation and I
Mhm.
would just like sit there like thinking.
Yeah.
And then like my close friend like Carlos would be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Was I not like talking to you this whole time? And he's like, "No, you've been like silent for 5 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I just had a full conversation like in my head."
So like somebody had told me when we came out, and they were just like, "Are you okay?" No, seriously.
They look at you. They're like, "Ooh."
Are you, girl? Are you good? No, but like again, like when I came out, and like you said, like the alumni are great. Like they were all there right away. I didn't appreciate it at the time Because when I came out and the alumni are telling me this, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, am I not supposed to feel okay? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
felt
remember that.
great. I felt you were one of them.
Yeah,
You were
I
one of the
remember that. I was like, remember, I spent so much time with you on that weekend. Like, we were sitting there, and Kevin Jacobs
Yeah.
was like just chilling with us too that day, and
He was the big one who kept checking in on me too.
Yeah, and you were like,
Love that.
"I'm fine. I'm great. Like everything's good," and I'm just like, "Okay, girl."
That's because, bitch, you saw what was going on in that house. I didn't see what y'all saw going on in that house. That's all I'll say.
I was more curious about like how are you feeling about
Getting cut.
like last when like really because you came out you were pretty into it, right? I know that you were in the game and you were in the game for very long, and you didn't get lost in the sauce. I probably would have I would have been like Delulu. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've actually like just joined the Delulu clan in the last like month. I mean, you see it, right? Like I'm just like,
girl, he joined it.
I'm just like whatever. Like I don't care. I'm manifesting. Like I'm doing whatever. Like there's this guy that There's this guy that I'm chasing after right now that I'm just like, oh, he's just like out of. I mean, well, no one should ever say that you're out of someone's league, but he feels out of my league. But like I don't like. Before I would be like,
not gonna say is that a man is out of his league. Rewind.
but see, before I wouldn't go after him, but now I'm just like, oh yeah, like yes to this, yes to that. Anyways, what was the point of this? My point is that like I've joined the Delulu clan, and like I
was already in it,
right? And you were you were already in it, but like I just didn't understand. When I was asking you, like, is everything okay? You were like, fine, but like, you literally got cut. And also cut by someone who I feel like was your friend. Can we get an update on your relationship with...
Why are you so messy?
I'm not messy! Like, well, there are going to be people who listen who don't know.
Well, okay, so, Cece? Are you asking about my relationship with Cece? I friggin' love Cece.
I know.
Okay, I love Cece, and
She's
like
such a little fireball.
She is a fireball, firecracker, baddie. That's my sis. And like at the end of the day, like Cece and I, like again, I was very in tune. Like I was such a fan. Like I prepared myself. Like I was so prepared for every friggin' week in that house.
Mm-hmm.
What I wasn't prepared for was that decision.
Well, I know. I remember what I was trying to say now because, like, in the finale, you walked out and you were like,
I remember
you guys wanted her to cut him, right?" And everyone cheered, and I was in the green room. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Wow, like that is so in touch."
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have said that. I would have walked out, freaking swearing.
Yeah.
You know? But like for you to say that, you were like capturing what people genuinely wanted, which was Cece cutting Ty. Really, that's what we were like.
But like at the end of the day, it's like it's not even the Cece and the Ty of it. It's like the showmans. Like everybody wants the showmans to cut each other at the end.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Ugh.
And like going into that is, I get why she did what she did. You know what I mean? I do. Okay. Here's like the little coming out. Because part of me is like, I get it. And then the part of me is like, I don't get it. Like for me, the Delulu part of me that was like playing so much the whole way through was like, it doesn't make sense that any of these people don't take me for the way that I was presenting myself. Wow. And I was purposely presenting myself in the way that was like, you're always above me. Like I tried to do, that was what I was doing. I say that in my video.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like for me, I got to that point and I'm like, these people are not taking any of each other. Yeah. Like there's no way in hell, because it wasn't even.
No, your social was amazing.
But and the thing on top of that too, right, is because I'm like, I know people see me for my socials, but they don't see me as a strategic person, which was to my benefit as well, and they don't see me as a competitor because I wasn't winning the comps at that point, but they were so aware of how well I was doing in the comps that I could use that also to my advantage at that point too, because at that point, I was in second place so many times, like 17 comps, I think it was. I have to fact check this. This is just what I say. And I was second in 12. Yeah. And people still were not afraid that I would beat them in comps. Like, you know what I mean? But like the point here is, I could use that all metaphorically,
Yeah.
and like at the same time, I'm selling to these people like I didn't win, and I didn't do this, but they can see that I will try to use this stuff and my relationships. But at the same time, you got people who broke fucking comp records, like Ty, amazing
yeah.
competitor,
Crazy.
broke them. Cece, who was like one of the best female competitors in ages,
History. Yeah.
or history really,
Yeah.
and it's like, why would they take each other? To me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like they've already broke up through the season, like they off and on. Like we've there was a scene of me, the ticker, tick, tick, tick. Like it blew my mind. In my like so everything was so planned, but the fact that I would be the one cut. Like I was so sure that I was the one for anyone to sit. Of course, you learn about people knowing certain things and like being able to mix things together and their emotions of like just knowing who's liked on the jury and who's not.
Yeah.
So like it made sense for Cece to take Ty because she knew I was so loved by so many of the people, and at the time it seemed
Yeah,
like
at
he
the
wasn't.
time, the crown was still pretty strong. Like, it wasn't, like, yeah.
It was
I
like a
mean,
known four in the
yeah.
jury.
Don't get me wrong, the crown was a flop, but they would have had your back in the votes, I'm sure.
You know, I want to fight that. I do want to fight that real bad. Listen, if we had just one
yes,
fucking
I
challenge.
am so sorry.
It's the way that we were putting that
Yeah,
crown. We were taking the crown off, bitch. We put the crown on once. We're like, yes, the crown. And then the next week was just like, oh. Like, did we even have a damn crown on our head at all?
Yeah, I petitioned the crown to be renamed as the clowns.
No, you've gone too far, bitch. Now that has gone too far because we were still there. We still saw the light of day. And what other alliance would have been there? Where were the named alliances? Nobody else was ready to run through the season. We just fell through a few holes. But
if I had made it week 2, but if I had made it during my eviction, my alliance would have been the it wasn't the Renegades. It was the oh my gosh, like what do you call it when people go against the rebellion? It would have been called the Rebellion, and our motto would have been taking down the kings and queens of this household.
It's so funny you say that, and this is like another point to like how we would have probably ended up working so well in the game together, because I literally like there is I don't know if it made it into a daily, but there's a scene of me and Vanessa talking about the free agents. It wasn't called the Rebellion, it was called the Free Agents, because it was so clear early in our seasons that there was all these like alpha males, then there was this group of girls, and then there was a few people that were just like not fitting in a group. I fell into that at the beginning, and it was me, and then there was Anika, and then once certain people left, Kuzi was kind of like floating around, and then there was Dan S in the kitchen, Vanessa in the kitchen. So it was just like Dan S, Anika, Kuzi, me, kind of Santina as well, but she was HOH at the time, so we didn't really count that. But what I wanted to do, and me and Vanessa talked about it because I was so scared when Dan went HOH second week, and she was like, like she's like, you need to win the next one. You need to start the free agents, like blah, blah, blah. Cause I was like bringing it up to her, like we're all in the middle. We just got to stay here because these sides will take each other out. And then we just got to like pull from them.
Yeah. We usually like,
so like, that's exactly where my mindset was too. Actually, there was a daily of it. There was I did not watch the digital dailies, like God forbid, and I will not be watching them.
I did a couple.
There was one clip where I did see myself like talking game, and I was explaining that. And there was that
the dynamic.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because like something about, it's almost like the Hunger Games. Like,
you know how much I accidentally call it the Hunger Games all the time? It was the Hunger Games.
It's really like they doll you up, right? They, and I mean by they, I mean, you get the wardrobe, you get you get everything, right? You get pampered, and then you get pushed through that door, and good luck. Yeah. Right? It's very Hunger Game-esque, really.
Yeah.
But like if you look at any of my pre-Big Brother interviews, I was gonna play dumb. Yeah. I was gonna be like, oh my gosh, like what does HOH stand for? Like, how do you spell veto? But when I walked through that door,
how do you spell veto?
Like, how do you spell veto? When I walked through that door, I realized like, oh my gosh, like, if I walk out of this house pretending to be someone else first,
Mm-hmm.
I would hate it. I would like, this would not be, you know.
Yeah.
And so I like almost immediately something like transformative like happened to me when I walked in, and I was just like, I'm just gonna be myself. But I'm gonna play this angle where like I didn't want to be this like trope where like I wanted to win competitions. I wanted to like really like put myself in like, oh, he's a threat.
Mhm.
But I was also hoping that like people would look at that and go, oh, he's like an easy person to put up on the block, so let's keep him.
Yeah,
You know, because it does.
Which
happen,
wasn't the
right?
thought. Which
Right.
was in a lot of our thoughts.
Right.
You came in and that switch happened for you. Whereas for me, I came in being like, you know what? I know how to be social. I'm just going to be myself. And I went in that first week with like the opposite effect. Like we flipped it. Because I came in saying I was going to do that same thing, but it took me a few days to get back on track. Because I came in and I was like, ooh, child, we're all loud. We're all Delulu.
We are.
We are.
It was a good group.
Oh,
It was-
very good group.
I saw competitors. I
Yes.
saw the like it was stressing me out a little bit because like you know how like usually there's like an obvious like first boot.
Yeah.
Really like and I hate saying that, but there's
Yeah.
usually that like
There's
one
somebody that like
outcast.
outcasts themselves to get a like yeah.
Right. And it was just I think like why everyone like one of the things that crossed people's minds, they were like, why were they all crying? Like, you know, why did when JM walked out, like why were they so invested in that
Well-
emotionally?
Well, let's also talk about the fact that this was the first season where the first eviction was 2 weeks. Like
which like threw us all off.
completely.
Because like part of me when I was doing my campaign,
Yeah.
I was like praying to every god that what that meant was like this was just like a social experiment to get us all going.
Yeah.
And like Arissa was gonna get up there and be like, so remember we said no one's going home first week.
Well, it was just so confusing because that's the only information we had.
Right.
No one's going home first week, but then we went into an HOH competition.
And then
And it was like,
and then Claudia won safety, and we're just like,
well,
why?
why is this happening
Yeah.
if nobody's going home?
But we've seen it in the past though, where it's like a rewind, like they do a rewind
Yeah.
like right after, or like they do things backwards, you know. So like it wasn't out of the realm of possibilities that it was just doing it to fuck with us. Like it did cross our minds that
Yeah.
like some of us were like hopeful because like you know I was up on the block with people I wanted to work with.
Yeah.
And it was so unfortunate. Like oh.
Child, that week. Like, well, let's talk about that twist deeper. Like, let's get into that. The fact that no one was going home deeper. Do you feel like? How do you feel like that changed the game, or your game at least? Because I know how it changed mine.
It screwed me up a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean, like, you know, I had the attitude of, like, I'm here to win, I'm here to play the game, but I was genuinely not playing the game in week one.
It was
Like,
too slow.
I was literally like, kumbaya, my lord.
I feel like-
kumbaya. Like, I was just chilling with everybody. I was making people breakfast. I was
Oh.
like, I was more so focused on who do I want to play this game with. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like trying to like figure it out, you know? Like, you know, if I say something to this person, or is it gonna come back to this person?
Yeah.
Like, and it was really feeling those things out. So when the idea of a backdoor kind of sparked, and I figured it out like after the first nominations, like I knew I like had an idea.
Yeah,
Actually, there's footage of me freaking out about it,
Yeah.
and someone going, oh yeah, put your feet up, it's fine, you gotta trust her, no problem. And I'm just like fucking gaslit the entire time, and I hated it because like I feel like had I not trusted the wrong people,
Yeah.
I would have been all up in Santina's ear.
I was gonna say, do you feel like you had people trying to hint to you that it was gonna happen?
No, but there were like anytime I vocalized it, there
Mhm.
was definitely forces telling me to stop thinking that way, which was huge indication as to it actually happening.
Yeah.
So you know, I knew it was gonna happen. It was just like at that point, I think like everyone's already signed their documents. People have signed their lease and the mortgages, and I couldn't break it. And that was one thing that really affected my game, because again, you hear about no one's going home week 1, and on top of that, my partner won. Okay,
Yeah.
like
I can imagine. Yeah.
my partner
Because-
won, so my guard was
Was down.
genuinely down.
Yeah.
And I looked at that as like, I was, you know what? And here's the really sad part is that I genuinely took that week as like, let me do some digging. Like,
Yeah.
Santina was gonna do things on her own because she's HOH, but like I have an advantage here because like I need to figure out who's gonna be a snake, so I could tell her.
Yeah.
But then also people immediately were like, dynamic duo, we can't tell him anything,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, like.
Yeah.
Like so it like played against me so hard, and like everyone was also convinced that like, oh yeah, like they were partners, so obviously you can't trust him with information. It's gonna go back to her.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh, so like, and then on top of that, so put yourself in the HOH's perspective. You're sitting down with me for friggin' Wendy's breakfast, and I'm trying to tell you like I don't have any information.
Yeah. And they think that you're lying.
I'm
to them.
holding things back. Meanwhile, no one is telling me anything. It's
Yeah.
like, ah.
Yeah. See, that was the problem with what I feel like it was the problem with the 2-week thing. Like it's for me, it's being in the house. I actually don't like it, but as a viewer, I think I would enjoy it more because we do see what happens when we're in a house for 2 weeks. Like that bond is so much stronger. It makes everything so much more painful.
Dramatic.
However, in the
Yeah.
form of a game, and it's like you think back to past seasons, it's like these people only know each other for a few days. It's easy to get the first 2 out of the way. You know what I mean? You don't have a connection to it.
Right.
But for us, it was this hard level of like, you don't want to be the first. Like at the end of the day, like I'm sorry, but nobody wants to be the first. So like if someone else is gonna be a first, it's kind of like, like let's just push them to the edge of the cliff. Like I'm holding onto your shirt. Like please don't go. But
Yeah.
also, like flick. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it comes to the point where it's like, how much? And then when you're there for 2 weeks, and now we're actually starting to make bonds, it's like, how much do you fight for somebody? Because like it's still no one's gone yet. Like we're still not at that vote. So much could still change. The dynamics in the house could still change. But it's like you've positioned yourself. You're not seen as the target right now, or like people are looking in these other directions. And it's how much do you do, or how much do you try to switch things when it's like we've been in this place and it's so smooth, it's so short. And you
Right.
brought up this kumbaya-ness, right?
Right. Oh,
And-
yeah, 100%.
And
Like,
it was 100% there.
Yeah.
Even for me. But like for me as like the super fan, that shit threw me off. And
Yeah.
if anybody had a camera on me the first few days, like my God, Big Brother was probably like, why the hell did we cast this guy? I spiraled, bitch. I was literally a cry. It's funny because you see other super fans play these shows and people
Yeah.
are like, what's going on with them? Like, why are they freaking out? Like, why are they panicking? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you come in with so much pressure because, like, you're the one who knows how this goes. You're the one who knows how things work. You know how you're expecting certain things. So
Right.
I'm expecting day 1, there's an alliance. Day 2, like, your final 2. And,
I wasn't
like,
even thinking,
everyone's
that's
best
so
friend.
crazy.
But we're there for friggin' 2 weeks going through week 1.
yeah.
So everyone's like, oh, we don't want to play too fast. We don't want to
Yeah.
play too fast. So I'm friggin' in the back room. They're like, nobody's telling me an alliance. Like, no. And they were happening.
Yeah.
And then it took like a moment, some reflection to be like, okay, bitch, go sit in that kitchen and just sit there and be social with everybody.
I remember you
that's
telling
when
me
I
that.
woke back
Yeah.
up because I had to go out there and I had to be like, okay, calm the fuck down. And like, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And that was why it was so unfortunate for you, I think, with that whole 2-week thing. Because if it was, you had a great campaign to stay. You had, like, you were ready. Like, you did have the stuff for us to flip. But I almost feel like that time, part of it as well, was a negative to you being able to turn that. Because if it was week 1,
Yeah.
we're all would have still been in work game mode, like rushing,
Right.
and it would have been in like, okay, flip the switch, like let's fucking do this. The
Yeah.
2 weeks in, we're all like slow and steady,
Right.
building
Like, we don't-
alliances. Like,
100%.
do we want to rock this? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we discussed it now outside of the show. Like, we had the numbers to save you.
We did. No, we
and
really did.
I wanted to.
We really did. Like my finale. Like
Yeah.
like walking into finale, and I was just like, oh, I'm like really excited to see everybody. Like almost every single person I hugged on that stage was like, we should have kept you. We
Yeah.
should have kept you. We talked about you so much. We should have kept you. And it was
Yeah.
like, interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, I've done the healing. You don't need to tell me anymore. I've done the work. I've done the healing. You don't need to tell me. Thank you so much. But no, it was nice. It was nice to hear. It felt like validating. Like, because, you know, like, I think one of the things that triggered was like, oh, maybe I was eliminated first because they didn't like me.
Yeah.
But I realized, like, well, it was a combination of like, well, you can see that the social was there. So it's like, okay, we're getting someone who can compete. We get someone out who is kind of actually good with everybody. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think there was anyone, well, anyone we knew in the house that was, you know, talking shit. It and like, what was the safest thing, right? Like, you don't pull a backdoor week 1
Mhm.
and say that he's just an option to go home. That's
Yeah.
a target bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so
Yeah.
like respecting the HOH, like going with the house, which I hate.
And it's so funny
Ugh.
too, because I feel like I got a lot of that. People thinking I was going with the house. One of the things that I said going in was like, I'm not going with the house. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I guess it does happen to some degree, but like that's my thing that I think why this is an important conversation, because if there's anybody watching who is prepping, one thing that I've heard from past house guests countless time, one of the biggest people, my fave, Aika Wong, used to say this a lot. Like, trust your gut. Like, you follow your gut, always follow
And I
your
should
gut
have.
in that
Ugh.
game. And see, so is that your feeling? You feel like you didn't trust your gut?
I didn't.
See?
Everything that I did in that house was like not what I wanted to do. Truly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like day 5, day 6, I realized the hand that I was dealt.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty intuitive. Like, I figured it out so fast that I'm like, ah, crap. Like,
Yeah.
I've not set myself up. Like, everyone has already been playing this game, but I've been like making people breakfast and making people lunch.
Yeah.
You know, making Santina panini, which she fucking hated, apparently. But it was at that point that I realized, like, crap. Like, I really should have just stuck to my gut. Like, when I wanted to go scream and cry to my partner and say, like, please don't backdoor me. She has a heart. I
Yeah.
feel like it would have hit.
Yeah.
If I went in there and said, like, I don't know what people are telling you, but I want you to know that I have your back. And they're going to say everything to move that target on me because they know how much of a threat we could have been.
Yeah.
It would have helped.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that because I was told to trust her. I was told to, like, calm down. You know, not be so like this, not be so like that, which is kind of a little, you know, I want to be loud and proud. Like, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was, again, trusting the wrong person. And so doing those things, I was like, okay, maybe if I do these things, I won't leave.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even on the block and I was already thinking this out loud, like, you know, in my
Yeah.
head. And it was like, I really should have picked up the pieces faster than I did, because the moment I got put up on that block, I was like, oh, like I knew it. Like I
Yeah.
knew it.
Yeah.
I was trusting the wrong person. I was
Yeah.
trusting the wrong people. Like I should have been more vocal about it.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, like, yeah, I really do believe that if we had like a stronger conversation that was more direct,
Yeah.
that was more like, I'm aligned with you. Like, I don't care what other people are saying, because truly I went up to her. I wanted her to be my partner. Like, I
Yeah.
wanted to go, like,
Yeah.
ultimately I would have been like, do you want to be a final 2 with me? And
Yeah.
just kept working different sides of the house.
Yeah.
You know? But it just like played out the way that it was. And I do believe when people say that they saw us as a potential threat
Yeah.
if we stayed in that house longer,
Yeah.
I do believe that could have happened. You know?
I mean, 1,000%.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, do we want to get rid of JM? Like, he is going to be seen as a threat. Like, he is going to keep being the target.
Right.
Whereas, like, someone like Dan, sorry, Dan, but that was who I wanted to go home week 1. I was just like, he's up with the, like, there's that boy alliance, and I was like, we need to knock boys out.
We really
That's
do.
what I was thinking. And I was like, I don't know where Dan's head's going to be
Yeah.
at. Like, you know what I mean?
But
And, like,
our boy Dan was never part of the
No, okay. So we'll see, we can acknowledge that he was never part of that little like guys, bros,
The boulders.
I don't want to talk about boulders, but he was not part of that group. That he was like by association because
Yeah.
it was going to be a guys versus girls versus gays.
I knew that he wasn't part of the group because when he was so sweet, he was like, when you see it play back, you're gonna see how shocked I was, like that you're up on this block.
I think he was left out of knowing.
He was
about
not.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's when I knew that he wasn't in the inner circle of that group. You know, and I was like, I believe you. Like I told him, like I believe you. Like I'm not setting my eyes on anything else. Like, you know, so it was stressful.
I mean, I don't know who was in on, who knew about it. Like I knew about it. Like a lot of us knew about it, but that's another reason why I wanted to win the POV, because I did want to have some.
Which
control.
was like that POV was like.
Girl, that
wild.
was not for me.
That first POV was actually like, even if I played in that, I don't think I would have performed.
Nobody would have beat
Ty
or Dan.
100%.
And I think that's another thing where people don't like this. We'll get into this at some point, but like that's another thing where people don't understand why we went for Dan before Ty, because Dan performed the hell out of that POV. Like no one understands how hard slop won't slop was. Like you guys sitting on the sidelines were emotional for how hard that competition was. They make it look like it was like intense competition like on the show. We were fucking dying, bitch. We were purple and blue, like couldn't breathe. Like at one point, I think they thought I was gonna die.
we were like, no, we were emotional. We were like clutching each other's like hands, and
we were all fighting. Like we were. I don't think I've ever fought for my life that hard in my life.
Yeah.
Like that was the first moment where I was like, I'm fucking playing Big Brother, because that was the first comp where I was by myself. The first comp was the HOH was a duos type of thing.
Yeah.
And then you guys got to do your own like part 2 HOH. Yeah. But that was the first time I'm playing a comp on my own. And like similar to what you said, like when I did come into the house, I was just like, I want to show that I'm here to play. Like I want to play.
I just don't want to be a stereotype.
No.
And like, I mean, I am a stereotype. Like, I already am, but I wanted to be like, you know, that like petite little like flamboyant Asian boy that just like won comps. It's like, oh, look at that. Like, it just like means so much to like, as like, you know, it did cure my child, like,
and me too. I was like, listen, bitch, I'm not about to come into this house like Black, queer, plus size, and fucking fail at comps and be like the clown music playing. Absolutely not. I mean, it happened, but
always the bride. No, sorry.
Don't you dare.
Wait.
Don't you dare.
Never the bride. Right?
Yes, bitch, really took it
The
there.
bridesmaid, never the bride.
I can't believe they put that into the show. They did me dirty.
They did. That final edit.
That scene where
they left you out for the worst.
Oh, the final edit. Okay, no, but like, you know what?
While Claudia and Ty were playing with each other, Daniel was playing with himself.
It says, while Daniel was playing with himself, Claudia and Ty, and I'm like, now Big Brother. What? Now Big Brother. Why was that necessary? Now, why was that? That wasn't the first time, because they like all the shit that they edit, like me being like, I'm ready to get lubed up. Like it was just like, this house guest is gay. Give him the stamp. Gay.
I'm
single gay.
I'm surprised that they didn't like put in things, because I was like really witty in there. Like I would like they, you know, like
they're saving it for me.
I was trying to go in those vines, and one of them whipped me in the face, and I was turned on by it. I was turned on by it, and I should probably figure out why. I was like being so like, I was in it, you know. I was having so much fun with it, but it never made it on. Which I'm like, okay, maybe but they were like painting me and like,
girl, you know, you got a good paint. They painted you well. That paint by numbers, bitch. That was a masterpiece. Mine is fucking Picasso. I don't know where the paint went. They splattered that shit on and they try to paint it back later, but it was like, girl, yeah, they saved it for me.
So, you know, going back, let's like go back.
Yeah.
You know, bitter and evicted.
Oh my God. See, the bitter comes in every now and then.
Right. It's like it creeps up. Like in ways like I know we've healed. Like let's be
Yeah.
honest, we've healed. But I think anytime I get a moment to talk about it, like I'll go into it.
Yeah.
Why not?
My peace is like very important to me. And that's one thing that I feel like they left out about me in that show is like, you know, I am an empathetic person. So like I'm able to read a room very well. And I think that's how I was able to play my game the way I did. But bitch, I like a nice, like passive person like I can be, but like I'm a petty bitch too. And that doesn't make the edit. So like sometimes these people come and they're talking to me and I'm just kind of just like
I know.
Protect your peace. Protect your peace. Protect your peace.
I know. It's like some of the events that we did in the summer. I was like,
oh my God. I hope that made
we're
it.
trying to film here. I didn't know you lived next to a kennel. Like,
okay, we're gonna have to cut some of this out. Ciao. All right.
cheers.
After the break, cheers. I don't know if we want to tell them that, but we took a break, bitch.
We did. This is a lot of work for no money. Like,
Saying that. Anyone who wants to sponsor our show.
literally, anyone who wants to sponsor us, let us know. Our DMs are open.
DMs are open
Could
for
you
more
imagine?
than just work.
Could you imagine?
I mean, mine is.
For some of us.
Leave JM alone. But as you've seen for me, actually, no, I'm not going to do this. Fuck that. I don't want, first of all, I'm really in a stage of my life, like, let's talk about it. I'm in a stage where I mean, low-key though, like I am on sides, like, find me a man. But at the same time, I was like, oh, could I? Like, some people, sometimes they come into the DMs, you know what I mean? But, like, at the same time, I'm like, and at the same time, I'm like, do I want someone who's going to slide into DMs? Like, how do you feel about DM sliding?
I'm okay with it. So
Wait, your situation.
yeah, we should save this for the second episode. We should talk about like dating and like
Later?
like
Okay, fine.
like stuff like that. No, yeah, let's do that. I do want to go back a little bit and say like, why are we doing this?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why would someone tune in to this? Literally don't.
What do you mean?
Don't tune into our shit show podcast.
I mean, do. I'm already doing this for no money. Like some interaction would be fun.
It would be.
But at the same time, literally, it's funny because when me and Jam started talking, when me and you started talking about doing this, like that was my first thing where I'm just like, listen, first of all, we see the numbers with reality TV oversaturated. It's not like we're all gonna have 1 million followers, and I don't care.
Right.
Like, that's not what this is about.
This is for fun. Really.
I just want to have a good time. Like,
Yeah.
bitch, what would I have been doing if you weren't here, like, sitting on the couch, like, having a chit-chat? Like,
You would literally be
sitting on this couch,
institutionalized.
maybe. Okay, that too. Or just sitting on this couch playing a video game, like, wasting my time for something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is just a fun, creative outlet.
Yeah.
But while having an outlook on certain, things in life.
This is an outlet for our outlooks in life.
Period.
Well, I said like we should just like, the Bay podcast because we didn't win $100,000. I'm just imagine.
Whenever you guys have, like, you want a topic, let us know. You want some stuff for us to cover? Like, this is very conversational. So if you want to hear us have a conversation of our opinions.
We should do a hotline.
With each other. Oh my God, a hotline.
That would be fun.
You know what I do want to do? We could do this episode or another episode. But you remember when Cece and Ty did the...
I wanted to do that too,
We
but
should
you
do
know
it.
what? I really wanted to do it, but
we
like
should
our
be shady
phones.
and actually show them.
Oh. I should have printed our cast photos out.
Ooh.
I freaking hate my cast photo.
Okay, Big Brother.
I
we
look
have
like
beef.
I'm squished.
We have beef, Big
like
Brother.
my
friggin'. Are you talking about your shoe cleaner man or your cast photo? Did anyone take that in? Okay, we have on our walls of the Big Brother house. We had all of our portraits, and we're done in a very Victorian style. We had the cuffs or whatever those things called, whatever. JM The bus man. What's it called? The merchant vendor.
I looked like a merchant. I looked like a shoe shiner, a chimney cleaner,
Chimney sweep. There
a
we go.
chimney sweeper, Shania.
He had none of the glamorous outfits.
No,
Just
I
like a
looked
button-up
poor.
and shit.
Literally poverty.
That's why you were first boo.
It was giving poverty. It was
There's
literally.
one of these people don't
Yeah, it's like,
fit.
ooh, that one's gotta go. That one's gotta go.
Mine was devious. Like,
Yeah.
why was my neck this far back?
I just can't wait for the next portrait because Ty and Cece are gonna be.
My God, I can't wait. I'm pissed.
Twitter was where I spent a lot of my time. Like, and
not
it's
me.
so funny.
Not me. Twitter
It's
doesn't.
so unserious.
It's so unserious, but to the fact where the people who are on it
yeah.
act like they're so
Yeah.
serious.
But you also grew up in that environment too. So like there were people who you like thought you had mutual respect with and you walked out and you were like,
Oh, I was like, oh, y'all shady bitches. Got it. It ain't gonna press me. Listen, bitch, I was on the show. I did it. Like,
Yeah.
I lived my best life, and y'all ain't really gonna take that from me. So,
yeah.
and if you want to say something, say it. Like, it's the ones that, like, bark a lot. Like, you know how many tweets I read where it was like, when Daniel's back in the world, like, catch Daniel on the streets. Where? Where's the streets? I haven't seen you.
Oh, show up, young.
Show up.
Yeah,
Where are you on the streets, bitch? I'm not scared. Like I said, I was petty.
You know what? Let's do a meetup. Young and Dundas. Young and Dundas.
Catch me at Young and Dundas, bitch.
Young and Dundas on January 10th at 5 p.m. I'll see you all there.
See you all there. Watch
know?
them show up.
There's like tweets. There's tweets to us. It's like, it's January 10th.
It's okay. I'm gonna
5
see Ty
p.m.
McDonald. You would come step to me with Ty there, bitch.
Potentially, there are people who are listening or watching this that are going into the house this year, which is so. I'm really excited. I truly, I'm so excited.
Are you? It's gonna be hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited, but it's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be hard to see people walk into our house.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's like we're the 11th people to move in. Like,
Yeah,
there's
literally.
11 people, there's 11 seasons of people before us being like, "Ugh, they're walking into our house now. We're like, it's our house.
Right.
But like the new setup too with the stairs.
I know, and
I wonder
like
if they'll keep it.
I hope they do. I think
Yeah.
it was great. It was great for cardio.
Yeah.
But so there's potentially people who are watching this that might be going into that house. What are your tips? Because I'm kind of springing this on you.
Yeah.
But my very first tip is get into the game. Like, walk into there and have all the fun. Forget about the world. I know it's terrifying. I know it's scary. I know that there's like all these what ifs that are happening. Get
And it's
into
exciting as well. Enjoy
Yeah.
every single element of it because
Yeah.
it ends. You don't have control. You think you do. You think you're going to be a player who's going to be able to
Absolutely
control
not.
the game.
Absolutely not.
You don't. So
Nope.
go with it. Stop. Don't try to fight it. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Play and have fun. Live your best life because it will end.
Yeah.
Am I saying too much?
Maybe yeah. Maybe yes. But
Okay, let me rewind it.
yeah. Maybe
Okay.
worded it something
Above
differently.
all else, play the game for you. How
Mhm.
are you going to make it to the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week? What do you have to do? Just always be aware of yourself and that gut and what it's telling you to do and do it. Don't
Yeah.
be worried about anything else because you don't have control.
Absolutely.
Go
You know,
with the flow.
Go with the flow. That's a
You
good one.
have
Yeah.
you have to be fluid.
Yeah.
in that.
Fluidity is huge. It's huge.
I just meant like emotionally, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be fluid in other ways,
Yeah. Literally.
don't do that though, unless you're actually a fluid person and we're like,
Yeah. Stop gay dating.
okay, we're gonna end that topic right now.
Don't gay bait.
Sorry.
My favorite part about being in that house was the amount of times we all coordinated outfits.
Okay, that was fun.
It
and
was
all,
so much fun.
But do you know how many people were stealing my sweaters? Everybody was fucking in my sweater closet. Because this is the thing. I brought my looks, but like I was also like hoodies, sweatpants. Like I made looks comfort. Bring comfortable looks.
Oh yes.
That's it.
Yes,
Guys,
the
you're
sweats.
in a house. You're in a
Yeah.
house. Be
no.
comfortable.
I
Like
agree.
yes, bring cute looks, but like people who don't bring comfy looks
Yeah.
are struggling.
Bring Crocs.
People are gonna steal your fucking slippers. So
People
bring
are
shower-
going to steal your Crocs, but bring them. You need to.
bring shower ones.
Yeah,
Please, God, bring slippers for the shower.
yeah. That's fair advice. You don't
It's
know.
just dirty. It's just like when people change in there. You come from comps. You're in the
Yeah,
shower. Like,
people pee in
they're
there
sick-
for sure.
Ew, yeah. People say that they pee in there.
Yeah, you could smell
If
it.
you're a shower peer, if you're a shower peer, you better stop. I have something to say to you people who think, oh, I don't care. Do not fucking pee in the Big Brother showers. You're all sharing it. Gross. Do not fucking pee in the hot tub. That hot tub, we clean it. We take care of that stuff. Did you pee in the hot tub?
Absolutely no.
Your face there. you
I
told
was
me
busy
you-
trying to hide like my boners when I was hanging out with.
With who? Insert the clip of us with this picture.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
What?
All right. Well, that brings us to officially 2 hours.
Is that 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours
Not
worth
me
of
being
footage.
like, there's no way we're gonna talk for 2 hours. Well, guys, the drinks are almost done, so I guess what that means is
Yeah.
we've reached the conclusion of the first episode of the Bake Podcast.
I love the bay. It's so cute.
Baby, I love it, so I can say baby.
Your reaction when I told you about the bay and you were like, I fucking love it.
I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
yeah.
We have things to do. We have places to go. We're going to drink this wine down. Cheers
Absolutely.
to the first podcast and to many more. And let's go get
Absolutely.
fucked up.
Yeah, literally, unless we get canceled. Hey guys, we actually only had one episode.
What?
Because we were canceled.
We definitely should.
Maybe we should talk about Dan so that we can get a jingle from Dan.
I think he'll just.
Oh my gosh, I love Dan so
dance. Well, he's the best guy ever. That is already enough. He's gonna be like,
I know, Dan's like, okay, guys.
Oh,
All right,
guys.
guys. Let me do it.
love Dan.
Okay,
Anyway.
bye everybody.
Bye,
Thank you so much for
babies.
tuning into the Bay Podcast, where we don't know when this is going to air, but I'm sure we'll figure out a schedule. We do have to stick to a schedule somehow, but we haven't figured that out yet. We just
He's gonna
haven't.
be more the scheduled person. I'm more like with the sparks.
Yeah, we're gonna figure that out. So, well, we just spent 3 hours being bitter.
However, today we're not going to be the ones being evicted, and I am casting my vote to evict all of y'all from episode 1.
See you guys next time. That's cute. That's a good outro.